Hey kids, we're gonna go fly in a Zeppelin!
These are the first pictures made on board these giants of the skies. After the bell signal to the commander, the motors are started and they're off. Back in the 1930s, Zeppelins from Germany were the only way people could fly long distances. Passenger airplanes back then couldn't fly across the Atlantic, so these giant airships were the only way to fly. The trip took 2.5 days from Europe to New York. Here we see the 800-foot-long Hindenburg arriving in New York City, passing over Battery Park, on its way to landing in Lakehurst, New Jersey.
Hi, Brooks. Happy birthday. And Connor, I'm making this for you, too. Basically, we're talking about Zeppelins. You probably don't know what a Zeppelin is, but if you saw the documentary film from the 1930s just before you saw me, it pretty well explained to you what they were. And of course you're familiar with the Goodyear blimp. You know, you see that over football games and so forth. A Zeppelin and a dirigible are similar, but the Zeppelin is bigger because it has sort of a steel or aluminum frame holding it together, where a dirigible, the Goodyear blimp, is smaller and is basically a gas bag. Well, what keeps it up, you ask? Well, I'm here to tell you. This is a helium balloon. And because it's filled with helium and not air, it goes up. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what a normal air-filled balloon does. So here I go. I'm going to blow it up right here on camera without it popping in my face. Now, I'm going to tie it so, of course, the air doesn't leak. This is so much fun, I know. This is great television. All right, let's see. Okay, here it is. It's just filled with air. Now, if this was blown up in Washington by a politician, it would probably rise just as fast as a helium balloon. So why helium and not hydrogen? Well, the early Zeppelins were filled with hydrogen, which was easy to make. And of course, being lighter than air, they flew beautifully. But unfortunately, hydrogen and fire doesn't mix, as you will see in the fate of the Zeppelin, the Hindenburg.
It's practically standing still now. They've dropped ropes out of the nose of the ship, and it's been taken a hold of down on the field by a number of men. It's starting to rain again. The rain had slacked up a little bit. The back motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from... It burst into flames. Get it started. It's crashing terrible. Oh, my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring mast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's inflation. 400 or 500 feet into the sky. It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the frame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the prayers that are speeding around.
No chance of that happening to us, because nowadays they use helium, which doesn't go boom like hydrogen did. And this is the Eureka, a 250-foot-long Zeppelin, far smaller than the Zeppelins of old. So what do you say? Let's get on board. A little shaky camera walk here. So we're walking, and I'm walking forward into my seat just behind the cockpit.
Hey kids, we're about to fly on a Zeppelin.
Just ask everybody to remain seated, and we'll be with you shortly after takeoff.
Okay, looks like we're about to leave. As you can see, the propellers are starting to angle upward, so it pushes the air down to give us a nice, smooth liftoff. And here we go. Look at the people down below waving goodbye. It feels really weird when you lift off this way. It's not like an airplane. Goodbye, folks. Goodbye. We're the lucky ones. You're not. You can see the shadow of the Zeppelin as we're climbing up above the grassy area around the airport. And it was way cool. The thing is, it flies at a very slow speed. And it doesn't really feel like you're flying. It feels more like you're on a small ship at sea, the way it just kind of rolls slowly from side to side and from front to back. Good thing I don't get airsick.
So, here we go.
I wish I was the pilots up front there. The guy on the left, he's from Germany and didn't seem to speak a word of English. The guy on the right was kind of our tour guide as we get higher and higher over the fields of Illinois. Probably going to level off at about 5,000 feet.
This does not feel like an airplane or a helicopter. It's more of a feeling of floating rather than flying. Flying all of 35 miles an hour. So, why don't we take a walk aft? There's the tail assembly. The railroad yard's underneath. Looking down at all the houses. And we're starting to turn here. Now I'm going to go forward. Okay. As we go walking through the cabin. Pay a visit to the cockpit.
I don't know if the pilot on the left side is flying or napping. But there's the instrument panel with all the controls and everything. A little different than an airplane or a helicopter. They got all kinds of gauges. Oh, but look at the view. Yeah, you really feel like you're just floating over the St. Louis metropolitan area.
As you can see, the view is spectacular. Like there's a fire down there.
There's the NASCAR racetrack. And the towers of my radio station, KTRS. Yeah, it looks like the guy's actually flying the thing. They're the instruments. That's the thing on Bobby, the one that tells you the discombobulated putiti. And of course, you got the other instruments that just kind of tell you. Actually, they're not really working. They're there just to look good and to impress people. What a view. And one of the neat things about it is if you're flying so slow, you can open the window and stick your head out. I mean, look at that.
Good morning, body out there. Yeah. Feet first? Yeah. Whatever.
Get a picture on the way down.
Yes, sir.
Let me go stick my head out and see. Wow. You know, it's really weird. You can stick your head out, feel the wind, almost like a dog in a car.
And that's the sound of the wind.
We're doing 35 miles an hour. This downtown St. Louis. You see, the engines are just kind of keeping us going. But sticking your head out the window at 5,000 feet, you can see everything, including, of course, the cabin we're in. Really, really weird, but it's cool. Hello, folks inside the cabin. I'm outside the cabin, looking in. Yeah, looking down at my old neighborhood in St. Louis, Science Center, Forest Park Beyond, and that's Kings Highway and I-64, and I know you're really interested in this part.
So, kids, what do you think?
And one of the interesting things around here is, of course, the river traffic on the Mississippi River. All the barges, all the towboats. St. Louis, for some reason, has turned its back on the river. Nobody really pays much attention to it. All right, looks like we're coming in for a landing now. As you watch the landing, watch the engines because they were pointing straight ahead to pull the Zeppelin along. There's our shadow as we make our turn. And you can see the people ahead of us waiting for us on the ground. But anyway, the engines, they act more like helicopters because they aim forward to pull us along when we're flying straight. But in order to land, look at them. They're kind of going up, acting like giant ceiling fans to push the air down to control the landing. The older Zeppelins didn't do that. So we got closer to the ground. It feels like a weird sailing ship combination with elevator. I don't know how else to describe the feeling because it's not like flying in an airplane or a helicopter. You're just kind of suspended below a giant bag of helium, which is affected by wind and air. So we get closer to the ground and our final approach there, waiting for the ground crew. There's a line hanging down from the, I guess you'd call it the bow, the front end of the Zeppelin, which they grab if they have to. Okay, here come the stairs. We're about to touch down. There's the ground crew, as well as the people who are going to go on the next ride. Lucky them. Unfortunately, we have to get off now. There's the ground crew. As the craft settles down on two tiny little wheels. There goes the tail. Yep, now we're definitely on the ground. And there are the steps, and we're going to have to leave.
Well, it's time for us to get off now. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end.
Well, as I walk away from the Zeppelin Eureka, what is Grandpa going to do next? Let's see, Grandpa took a steam train ride. Grandpa took a ride in a 1929 Ford Trimotor. Grandpa flew in a U.S. Army Blackhawk helicopter. Grandpa just completed flying in a Zeppelin. Stay tuned to see what I'm going to do next.